All right, back again with another foreign comic market report. Um, I've been kind of out of commission for the last couple weeks. Been just doing family stuff, family vacation, kids on summer break, summer camp. So just kind of been tied up. Haven't been able to make a video. But we'll kind of get it going again. I've got quite a few to get through today, so I'll try and do them pretty quick. This was kind of a lot of foreign comics. Has like an Italian Spiderman, Brazilian ASM 122, the Brazilian ASM 300, and then the first appearance looks like a Spanish first appearance of the White Rabbit. So for someone that's kind of getting into foreigns that just wants to buy as much as possible, this was a great deal to get all of these from their respective countries individually. In shipping, you probably would have paid this price anyways. So to be able to get them all from another American, for a pretty decent price. The ASM 122 from Brazil and the 300, I've seen both of those sell for close to this price alone. So even if they're low grade, it's a good way just to kind of get your foot in the door, get some books going. Here we have a Brazilian Action Comics 1. This one, is a later print. I think it was from the late 90s, early 2000s. Great looking book, cool cover font. For $41. I wouldn't imagine these are that expensive in Brazil. So cool book. And these Brazilians are doing a good job of making some money on them. So this one, went very cheap. Like I said, this book, can sell for $50 to $100, depending on the condition. And this one sold for, it was just a buy it now at $17. So this seller definitely could have gotten more, but it was a great deal for whoever found it and bought it. Here we have the Italian Lethal Protector Venom Platinum cover. This one came sealed with the little phone book. Like I've said in previous videos, you gotta be careful with those phone books in the sealed wrapper, because it can completely scratch up the cover of this book, and it's kind of hard to tell unless you open it. But this is the highest I think I've seen this book ever sell for, $359. It sounds pretty up there. Me personally, like I've said in the past, I would probably prefer to have an opened one where you can actually see the condition of the actual comic. A lot of these foreign books came with like little gadgets and accessories, and for a completionist, that's real important. But for me, I'm just more interested in the comics. So I'd rather have a nice looking comic rather than that little phone book. This seemed like a pretty high sale. Fantastic 419 from Italy. First appearance of Remitut. It's obviously tied to Kang the Conqueror. So 125. This you could probably still find in Italy on Italian eBay for I would think under $20, under $30. But then of course you have to pay shipping. But still, it's a great looking book. I'm not exactly sure what their plans are with Kang for the MCU, but it's obviously heading in that direction. So we'll see if Remitut makes an appearance or not. This was Conan the Barbarian 1 from Italy in a PGX holder. So probably took a big price hit for that. I mean, this here you got a slab comic. It's PGX, but sold for $42. This person probably would have been better off just cracking it out of the PGX slab and selling it raw. Because I think as I've shown in the last couple market reports, these have been selling for upwards of $75, $100. So this is the lowest sale by far, and this person paid to have it slabbed and all that. So this goes to show you, you gotta be careful. A lot of the foreign guys like to use CBCS, and obviously those, it sell for a discount compared to CGC, and PGX it sells obviously for a very big discount compared to anybody else. Ultimate Spider-Man 1 Piche variant sold for $99. So there was a 9/8 sale that I hear was verified, but I just don't believe it sold for that price. I think it was almost $3,000 or $4,000 for a 9.8, which, for a 9.8, that's, a great deal. But, these can still be found on the Italian marketplace for, $10 to $50. So you'd be better off just buying every raw copy that comes up and submitting them all to CGC rather than spending that $4,000 or $3,000, whatever it was. But that is if that slab book actually sold at that price. I'm not sure. But for $100, that sounds a lot more reasonable to pay for this book rather than thousands of dollars. I'm not sure. I think I haven't really kept track of the Ultimate Fallout 4, which obviously should sell for more, I think, than this. But because the Italian has the variant cover. But, I know a 9.8 a few years ago was only selling for $500. So, yeah, I'm sure it'd probably be selling for more now. But it'll be interesting to see if one comes to market. This is an Amazing Spider-Man 1, kind of like their facsimile edition from, I think, 1999, signed by Stan Lee. Pretty cool piece of kind of comic history. Any foreigns signed by Stan Lee, I think, are going to demand premium because, when he was alive, foreign comic collecting wasn't really that popular. And so, there's only so many foreigns that were signed by Stan Lee. So if you can find yourself a nice signed book, I was actually looking at a few of these different German books signed by Stan Lee, just for my own personal collection. I thought that'd be a cool centerpiece to the collection. But I'm not sure I want to spend $600, almost $700 on one. Spider-Man 1, Black Cat. This was a 9.6, sold for $275. These I'm not sure what they're selling on the German market. I think these were selling for a while for like $30 and this company Blue Box, and as the demand increases on their comics, they increase the prices. So it might be up to like $50 or $75 now raw. But they come, when they ship them from Germany, they're pretty much 9.8s. They ship them in pretty much bulletproof packaging, and they're all really high grade. I've only ever gotten a couple things from them that weren't in perfect condition. So you could have maybe bought a couple of those raw and submitted yourself, but here you've got a 9.6 for $275. Obviously much cheaper than what the American version would go for. So someone that just loves the cover, this was a good deal for them. This is a pretty huge sale, a 9.8 German, the Spawn 5 Angela cover. It's the embossed and variant cover, sold for $559. So that was a huge sale. I don't think I've ever seen a 9.8 come to market. So obviously there's a couple guys that really wanted it because it went for big money. This one was kind of confusing to me. This is the Heritage Comics, the Frankenstein 1 from 1972. I guess it was just super high grade because it went for $171, which seems like a very high price for this book. But maybe there's someone out there that's just a big horror or Plug collector or Frankenstein collector. I'm not sure, but cool book. Not something I would spend $171 on, but I'm sure there's collectors out there that would. Obviously, there was one guy. Secret Wars 8, $49.99 from France. These sell pretty consistently, between $30 and $50, depending on the condition. These can get really scratched and scraped up. So $50 looks like a pretty decent copy from that kind of small picture. So not a bad deal. Not too familiar with this book, but it seemed like a pretty high sale. This is a Dell'Otto X-Men 85 French cover from 2004. I'm assuming it was probably used on an American book and then it was reused on the foreign market. Or possibly it could have been just a foreign exclusive cover, but this one sold for $174. It's definitely a good price on that. A lot of these French books can be very difficult to find in decent condition. So if this was a nice copy, you know, someone might have been looking for it for a while, and they just said, "Screw it, I'm gonna buy it no matter what." So you know, it's a cool cover. I know the Dell'Otto books tend to just sell for a premium. Here we've got Hulk 182 from France. This is actually the French Canadian. There is actually a French version, and this one looks like the French Canadian version. Sold for $46. So not a bad deal for the, you know, I guess it's considered the third appearance or second appearance of, you know, second cameo of Wolverine. Not really sure how that all works out. But, you know, it's kind of like the third book in the series for that first appearance of Wolverine. So $46, not a bad price. Star Wars 1 from Canada, the French-Canadian edition, 1983. This book that you don't see come to market very often. This might have been the first or second time I've ever seen it come to market. But, you know, cool looking book with like Moon Knight and Iron Fist on the cover. So this one went for $125. Looks fairly kind of lowish grade. So, you know, someone, you know, this is probably one of the most collected cover sets, you know, this and ASM 300. So someone that's looking for kind of the harder ones, you know, they just jumped on this, and, you know, for 25 bids, there's obviously a lot of demand. Not exactly sure how $3 shipping works internationally from Canada, but who knows? Hopefully it shows up. Here's a couple, I think this is, yeah, I've got a couple French-Canadian books here that I wish I would have seen, because these were, you know, pretty good deals on books you don't see too often. So you've got the X-Men first appearance of Alpha Flight, X-Men 120, sold for $23. And then this was like crazy cheap, Spider-Man 122, The Death of Green Goblin, the Gwen Stacy story. And this sold for $31. That's crazy cheap. I had an extra copy of this I sold recently for I think $150. So this, you know, some of these French Canadian books, they go really cheap when they do show up on the market. And you know, you got to just be the first one to find it and buy it. You know, because this could easily sell for, you know, 5 times this amount. And here's another one. This one I actually needed some. I'm upset I didn't actually see it, but it's the Spider-Man 121 French Canadian editions Heritage for $46.74. I would have definitely bought this had I seen it. Great looking book, and just kind of a, you know, fun book to have, important part of Spider-Man's history. Let's see. So this is a Fantastic Four #5. First appearance of Dr. Doom from Brazil, the Block 1976 edition. Real cool cover on this book, crazy colors. I like the font, you know, with the flame surrounding it of the title, and then Dr. Doom with his pink hood on. Looks just really cool. I believe I looked this one up, and it sold, I think, for either $200 or $225. But there's been a couple sales on this book recently, so I think I touched on a couple others as well. This seemed like a crazy high sale. Something's Killing the Children 1, Brazilian, the first print. I really don't know too much about this book, but that, you know, it seems like a pretty high price. Yeah, I think this was like only sold at like a Comic-Con or something like that in Brazil. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to look into it. But $2.99, very strong price on this book for sure. Here we go. Here's the other Fantastic Fours I was showing you. So the one that I showed you sold for $200, and there was another one that sold not too long ago in May for $361. So those are pretty huge sales there. I'm not exactly sure what this book would run you if you found one in Brazil. I think I've got one actually on the way from my buddy in Brazil, and I think he charged me, yeah, maybe like $50-$60 for it. So yeah, definitely not a bad deal. I don't even know what it looks like, so I'll have to check it out once it gets here. This was a cheap set of Greek books. You know, the second and third one, not nothing special, but obviously it's got Fantastic Four #1 there, and that's definitely a sought after book, and for $49 that was a very good price. Here's another one I wish I would have seen. This is a Superman Batman 4, the Michael Turner variant, Supergirl cover. I'm not sure how this one, almost every one of these has a green label, and this one has a blue label, because the number of the book was written on the back cover, so majority of them get a green label. But there are a couple blue labels, I guess, that squeak through, but for $510, that seemed like a steal to me. I would have probably bid on that for sure if I would have seen it. Here we've got another PGX. This one sold for actually a surprising amount of money. This is the Tales to Astonish 93, Silver Surfer vs. Hulk in German. Sold for $150. High grade 8.0, but it's also PGX, so you just never know what you're going to get when you open it up. But cool book nonetheless. Here's one that went surprisingly cheap, probably because it was in the UK, and it's going to be another $25 to ship it, but $76 on this one. We've been seeing these consistently sell in the $125 to $150 range lately, so this one definitely went cheaper than they have been. Talked about that one already. So here's another one. This one's also from the UK, but this one went for $129. So not really sure. I guess it's just it's hard to get kind of a reliable gauge on foreigns. They just kind of bounce all over the place. Because what are we talking? $76 to $129, so you're paying almost $60 more for the same book, plus same shipping. So it's just it's all over the place. German edition Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1. I didn't look into the price on this one. I'm assuming it probably sold for like $45-50. These were actually, I think, a free comic book day giveaway, but they're cool books. There aren't too many foreign editions of TMNT1. There's a Russian and the German. I'm not too sure if there's any that are actually dated back in the 80s. These were the ones that the German and the Russian were both more recently printed. So I showed you that Stan Lee signed copy. So here's the actual 9/8 of the same book. This one only went for $51. So from 1999, 9/8. Yeah, thought it would definitely sell for more. But cool book. For someone that's collecting that cover set, that would have been a steal. Here we've just got kind of a group of Italian keys. The first appearance of Annihilus, sold for $70 plus $25 shipping. Fantastic Four #3, sold for $100. And then first appearance of Galactus. This one was actually pulled from a bind. It's kind of hard to tell in this picture. Oops. But that one went for $100 as well. We've got a 9/8 Dell'Otto High Republic 1, went for $400. That's the highest price I've seen. I feel like these in 9/8 have been going for closer to like 200 range. But it's a great looking cover, and someone just wanted that 9/8 and was willing to pay for it, I guess. Hughes Supergirl and Legion of Superheroes 23, Hughes variant, the Italian version, sold for $160. I used to have one of these, and I sold it to a guy. I think I only sold it for like $50. But I kind of regret it. I'd like to get at least one of these covers back in my collection. They printed this in a few different countries, so I'll have to kind of look around and see what I can find. Yeah, because it is a beautiful Adam Hughes cover. Ultimate Fallout 3 and 4, the variant covers, so it sold for $300. And these are, depending on how these get shipped from Italy, and if you are able to get a pretty high grade copy, I would think it'd be a worthwhile buy at that price, just because with how much the variant cover of Ultimate Fallout 4 is selling, the American version, people are going to probably start turning to the foreign versions pretty soon, or if they haven't already. So these could have the potential to really blow up, I feel like. I feel real lucky because I just got back my Ultimate Fallout 4 Italian, and I was lucky to get a 9.8. So, you know, it happens. Even though it was shipped in the Manila envelope from Italy, somehow I still got a 9.8. So was definitely surprised and happy with that grade. Tomb of Dracula 1 from Italy, sold for $75. Spider-Man 14, $55 from Italy. So here's a couple of just random foreigns that I saw that were slabbed, and that 9.8, I don't even know what this comic is, but it sold for $26, so not even close to covering the grading fee. And then this other 9.8 sold for $77 basically. Yeah, so it just kind of goes to show you that slabbing random foreign comics that aren't keys, unless it's for your personal collection, if you're actually doing it to sell them, it's probably not the best idea, especially not at auction, because you might not get many eyes on it, and you could potentially end up losing quite a bit of money. I'm assuming both these books probably sold at a loss for the seller. So this is the Ultimate Fallout 4. This is the French edition, $189. Another one to look out for. Let's see. I'm gonna turn my phone service off. There we go. All right. It's the Champions cover. I believe this is the French edition, sold for $40. The Alex Ross variant. This is the French Dracula 1. It's kind of like a book-sized comic, sold for $90. This one's actually kind of hard to find, so $90 is probably not too bad of a deal, because I rarely see them pop up on the French market. A couple more French Spider-Man keys. Spider-Man 252 sold for less than $30, and then Secret Wars 8 sold for $55. This was like the Wolverine Limited Series from Frank Miller. So this collects all 4 issues, only sold for $8. Then pretty low grade, but definitely would have thought it would have sold for more than that. First appearance of Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, French Canadian Heritage. This is like the silent issue. So probably pretty difficult to find. The French Canadian edition of this sold for $76. This is Amazing Fantasy 15 at Hulk 1 from France. So you can see the interior has AF-15 on the inside, and also the Hulk 1. These were printed, I think, in the late 80s. I'm not really sure, I don't think they should really demand too much of a premium. They're very common on the foreign market, and they sell for cheap, like $5 to $10. So $40, it's not a bad deal if you can't source your own books. But to me, it's really ugly covers that they put on these books. I wish they would have just picked either Amazing Fantasy 15 or the Hulk 1 cover and just put it on the cover. Instead, you get a typewriter with Stan Lee's head on it, and then just little snippets in the background of what's inside. So yeah, the French definitely kind of screwed themselves with these comics. They could have had some amazing covers, and they chose to kind of go cheesy with it. This is a Dutch Spider-Man 300, sold for $40. That seemed like a steal, and these could easily sell for $100 plus. So I think John Z might have picked that one up. I can't remember, but definitely a steal. Especially when you look at this. So here we got Spider-Man 301 sold for more than the 300, which obviously makes no sense. So yeah, that 300 was a great deal. Star Wars Darth Vader 3 sold for $20. The Darth Vader 3, all of them, all the foreign editions, and they're all down. I think people are just waiting on an announcement from Disney for her to get a show or show up in one of the Disney Plus shows. But it hasn't happened yet, and I think people are starting to get a little impatient. So the demand has definitely gone down. So yeah, this is the Brazilian version, sold for only $20. This is a Spider-Man 300 from Serbia. It's a hardcover. Pretty cool book. I had a couple of these. I try not to collect too many hardcovers just because they are, a pain to store. But this one, is definitely a worthwhile purchase. I think it came out like 2 years ago. So pretty cool book for not too much money. So the Australian stuff has definitely come down in price. There was not that long ago that all these Australian #1s were selling for close to $1,000 if they had the poster inside. I can't remember if this one had the poster or not. I feel like it did, and it only sold for $318. But it was low grade, but definitely a third of the price it was selling for not too long ago. Here's the YAFFA Captain America 1, sold for $114. Still pretty annoyed. I had bought one of these from a seller on the foreign comic Facebook group, maybe 4 months ago. He only charged me $25 for it. Great deal. For some reason, there was some sort of issue going on with the Australian post. All the packages from Australia I was getting were not getting routed to my house. They were getting routed to somewhere up north, like Connecticut, and then they were being just considered like undeliverable, even though my address was on the front of the package. It had something to do with the barcode from Australia. So this package fortunately never showed up. It got returned to the sender, and then now the seller in Australia won't even respond to my texts. So I'm pretty annoyed with it. I really wanted this book, but it is what it is. For $25, I'm not gonna pitch a fit over it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and this one I lost. But still for $114, still a great looking book, cool book, and it's a YAFFA from Australia, so those are always pretty hard to find. I know this came with a video game, the Amiga Spider-Man 1. Never thought it would sold for this much money. I'm pretty sure they were folded in half and then put inside a video game from the 90s. So definitely, it's a cool book. I like the font on it and the corner box. But $471, that's a lot of money. So, I don't really collect this set at all. So, maybe this is the rarest one. I'm not sure. That's some big money there for that book. Tomb of Dracula 1, the YAFFA, sold for $136. Cool coloring on this one. Definitely, different than the original, but just kind of makes fun variation. Some other random Newtons that sold very high with their posters inside. Not really even key books, so, the Newtons are just kind of bouncing around all over the place. $220, Hulk 181. This one went cheap. You probably couldn't even buy this on the Spanish market for this cheap. So $220, that's low. That's low. I think they range from about 200 to 300 euros on the Spanish market. So this is definitely a good deal for who bought that one. This was Incredible Hulk 1, sold for $286, $87, kind of lower grade copy. The spine looks pretty rough, but still very hard to find book. This is one I was bidding on. This is Smash Comics 17 from 1966. Uses the Incredible Hulk 1 cover on it. I actually have one already. That's pretty high grade. This one, and these books are huge. And I was hoping this one was going to go cheap, and it did, but it went. I didn't win it. Another collector won it, and this I've been check almost daily on eBay UK to see if one pops up, and this is the first one that's popped up, and I'd say probably at least 3 years. So for it to go this cheap still is pretty crazy. I think there's just not that much awareness about this book, but it's unfortunately it's too big to get slabbed. It's like almost like the size of a newspaper. But it's a really, really cool book, and for $143, it was, I think, a great deal. There's another Newton for $265, so that's definitely cheap. Looks low grade, but this was one of those Newtons I was selling for $900 not that long ago. Batman or Detective Comics 234. This is the Mexican version of it. First, I think, Silver Age Two-Face sold for $99, and classic Neil Adams cover. $400 for this Spider-Man 1 Mexican edition, like the Mary Jane Venom cover. Yeah, I guess it's a real popular American comic, so yeah, the Mexican version, that 9.8 definitely sells for a decent price. Same thing with this, the Spider-Man 667 Dell'Otto cover, $285. I think it's probably the highest I've seen it sell for. The Mexican seems like not that easy to find. The Italian version seems to be easier to find, but it has kind of some silly looking stuff they added to it on the cover, like a corner box on the right side that, yeah, I think makes it less desirable for people. This is a Spider-Man 9. This is the La Prensa, first appearance of Electro. So, you know, this is an old book from the 60s, hard to find. So $341 doesn't seem like a terrible deal at all. This is the Adam Hughes sketchbook, Wonder Woman cover. This one I think was this was from Spain, part of the Dolmen, comic fanzine, and this one was the big one to get for a while, and the other one, the Dolmen 16 with the Death cover by Adam Hughes, that one's kind of taken over, so not too many people talk about this one anymore, but obviously still people are after it, because this one sold for $89. I think they were selling for more than that not that long ago, but now that Death cover, I've sold them in the past for consistently over $200. And to find a high grade copy is definitely not easy. Here we've got the Mexican Hulk 181. Is that the foil? Yeah, it's the foil, and then the Spanish. Both of these were more recent prints. They're not old, but still sold for $50 and $60. So not bad deal. If you're building this cover set, you got to find all these. So whenever you can find them, especially that Mexican one looks like it's shipped from within the U.S., so that's not a bad deal at all. Hulk 181, the first Wolverine from Spain. Kind of a goofy cover, but it does have this one has Hulk 180 inside, I believe. I'm not sure why that one says Hulk 181. But for $90, these have gone up in price. You used to be able to find these for $10 plus shipping from Spain, but now you can't really find them for less than $30-$40 on the Spanish market. So $90 with $19 from Spain, not a bad deal for a good looking copy. This is the Siege 3 La Mole. I'm not sure why this one sold cheap. This one I think we'd seen sell closer to about $100. Looks like it's got a big crease possibly in it. It's hard to tell. So maybe that's why it's sold for less. But $48, not a bad deal at all for the Campbe cover. This one kind of blew my mind. This is one of the non-canon Sergeant Fury comics. This one sold for $265. This is there's a kind of a run of these Sergeant Furies with Nazi kind of babe covers, like pinup girl Nazis, and there's a few different ones. They're all cool. I think they're Jose Luis Duran, who does the non-canon Spider-Man comics. If not done by him, by someone that has art very close to him in Mexico. But yeah, this one $265. Never seen one sell for that much before. This is the lowest I've ever seen the Edge Spider-Verse 2 land variant go for from Mexico, $36. That's super cheap. Like I said, not too long ago, these were ranging in the 200 plus range. So yeah, these have fallen quite a bit. First appearance of Harley Quinn from Spain, 110. This was a complete run of 1 through 20 of Fantastic Four. This was the reprints from the 90s from Spain. So if you wanted all of those, it's got a lot of keys in there. For $200, it might not have been a bad deal, like a package deal. So Mystic 40, first appearance of Groot from the UK, sold for £800. I'm not exactly sure with the conversion. I think that's probably going to put you right around $1,000. But it looks like a decent copy of it, and I know I've only ever seen one or two come up for sale. So, you know, definitely if someone that looking for that book decided just to jump on it. One actually sold at auction, you know, a few months ago. I think it was closer to like $300-400. I can't quite remember, but, you know, very cool book. Probably, you know, if you're a group fan, you know, it's a great book to have. Here we got the Fantastic 1 through 65, 30 different comics, so lots of keys in there for $333. You know, that's not a bad deal depending on the condition. And there's, you know, you got the, what is it? You probably got X-Men 5 in there, or X-Men 4, whichever one is first appearance of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. You know, the interior, there's all kinds of interior keys. X-Men 1, first appearance of Iron Man, all those old keys are in here, so not a bad deal for $333. Here we've got the Dracula Lives run, 1 through 30, sold for $274. You know, obviously the big one in there is going to be Tomb of Dracula 10, first appearance of Blade, but I'm sure there's some other good issues in there as well. But that, you know, that's the big one. Yeah, I'm sure that's kind of why they were going after this one. Here we go, the X-Men 4, the Fantastic. That one alone sold for $235. That looks like a pretty nice copy. You know, there was a point in time, you know, just 3 or 4 years ago, you could buy these all day long for $25-30, you know, shipped from the UK. But, you know, fortunately those days are over. Same with the Tales of Suspense. I think it's 52, first appearance of Black Widow. You know, that one's another one, you know, that was on the cover of these Fantastic books, and yeah, those were very cheap, and now they've all but dried up now. I'd never seen this one. This one's cool. It's Batman 86 from looks like the UK, but it's like the multicolored Batman suit, Rainbow Batman, sold for $176. Another Dracula Lives 21, which is Tomb of Dracula 10, sold for $119 just by itself. So this is the Avengers 57 from the UK, which is Doctor Strange 1. It's actually looks, I didn't even notice it at first, but it looks like it's signed by Stan Lee. That one sold for $129. Another Dracula Lives, Tomb of Dracula, $125. And that is it. So a lot of Dracula books selling, and other cool stuff. There's a few books in here that don't sell very often, so you know, whoever bought those, congrats to them, because trying to find these really hard to find foreign books in this market right now is really tough. There's a lot of competition, a lot of different guys looking. You know, it's not really what it was a couple years ago, where, you know, it was pretty easy to kind of find, you know, or not that it was easy, but there just wasn't as much competition. Now you got, you know, 40 different guys all looking for the same book at the same time, whereas before it was, you know, maybe just 5 or 10. But, you know, to be expected as things become more popular. So that is it, and hope you guys have a great day. All right, thanks, bye.